So I made a video in November of last year called Dating When Trans, and I was discussing how I was meeting a ton of new people and I wasn't out to any of them, and how um, just voicing my concerns about like how I would come out to somebody I was interested in, or if someone asked me out, then how like would I tell them before we went on a date, or after would I date them for a while and then tell them about me, like just all of these things because I've only ever been in relationships where um, the person, like it was LGBT situations, and the person had found out about me without me having to say anything. So when I was in a situation where nobody knew about me and it wasn't something that was ever going to come up in that situation, because it wasn't an LGBT situation at all, um, you know, how would I go about just randomly bringing up the topic if I was interested in someone? So fast forward to now, and I've been in a relationship now for a couple months, and so I'm really private when it comes to dating and stuff. So I'm not necessarily going to go into a lot of detail, but I do want to share like how I told her because um, like I this is something that I thought about a lot and I still think about a lot because I am sure that I will be, pursuing relationships in the future, or just not even like romantic relationships, but just relationships with people where I'll need to tell them or want to tell them and don't really know how to do so. And so I just wanted to share, what worked for me clearly because I'm in a relationship and very happy. So, uh, yeah. Anyway, so basically, I met her September of last year. We started hanging out, like become like really became acquainted with each other around January, um, and then of this year, and I started trying to formulate a plan in my head of if this could work, kind of thing, because she is straight, and I found out very quickly that she didn't have really any knowledge of LGBT anything. Um, so that kind of worried me a bit because I was like, okay, I have no idea what would happen. Um, and then, so basically, I wanted to be friends. I wanted to actually get to know her. So we started hanging out, and we just had a lot of conversations where I managed to like steer it in the direction of um, sexual orientation and gender identity and just like bodies and stuff. And I really like the topic of sex fascinates me to no end, so I research it a lot and I like to talk about it. Not in like a raunchy sense, but just in a like educational sense. I just love discussing sex because it fascinates me. And so um, we just got into a lot of discussions where I very quickly realized that she's an extremely open-minded person, not necessarily educated because she wasn't educated on a lot of the stuff I was talking about, but she wanted to know more and she wanted to listen and she was, reciprocating interest in the subjects I was discussing, which I was like kind of slipping in little what she knows now were hints, but just trying to feel out the situation of like, you know, what was she thinking when I was saying these things, and talking about genitals and how and bodies and how people don't necessarily get to choose their bodies, but they, you know, um, I'm very open about the fact that I'm part of the LGBT community. I just don't go into detail. So everybody who knows me kind of knows that I'm part of it and knows that I have dated guys and I have dated girls, and so that topic did come up a lot, and it was just easy to kind of slip in little things where I could kind of feel out the situation. Also, she had known that I had my name legally changed. Didn't know why, didn't know what it was before or anything, but she did know that. And somehow I managed to slip in um, testosterone and that I was taking testosterone. And at this point, I was for sure that she wouldn't judge. But what I was trying to feel out was, first of all, would she be not? Is she able to keep a secret? Um, at that point I was, can I trust her with this secret? Because I can't have her telling all of our friends that we know, that are our mutual friends who don't know about me. I can't have her telling her family and her friends and everything. Like I just needed to know that I could trust her with it. Because at that point I was like, I really like this girl. I want to go out with her. And I know that that it's not going to be like a turn off, like that she won't care. It's not going to be a big deal. At that point, I figured that out. Um, she'd be willing to hear me out and listen and learn. Um, but at that point, it was just, can I trust her with this secret? And so I basically told her I was on testosterone. I made it clear that it was important that she didn't tell anybody because it was something that I don't tell people. Um, and I just said that my body doesn't produce enough testosterone, so I have to take testosterone injections um, in order to have gone through puberty properly and maintain a healthy testosterone level for an 18-year-old male. And so then she just kind of she just listened and said okay, and that was fine, and said she wouldn't tell anybody. And um, I have trouble bringing things up. So I was like, I didn't know, I didn't want to ask her out first. I wanted to make sure that she knew first because I just felt bad. I didn't want to, I wanted her to know that what she was getting into. Um, so we were walking one day and we were talking about names for some reason, and she asked me why I got my name changed. And um, I got like super nervous, and I said, well, there's a bigger picture, and I should probably tell you now. And it took me literally like 7 minutes to get it out. I was stuttering so much I could not physically say it out loud. I just couldn't. And I um, I ended up just saying, "Do you know what the T in LGBT stands for?" And she said, "Sort of." And then I just kind of said why. And then I said, "Well, I'm transgender, and so you know I don't really remember what happened after that because I was so stressed out and so flustered and so nervous and just so I was a wreck." And she could tell that I was a wreck. And I think that's what kind of helped was the fact that I made it clear that this is not something I really ever tell people. It's not something that it's just, I made it clear it's just a medical condition for me. It's just, I told her about my upcoming surgery date, which is now thankfully over with. But and just she said like that she had kind of had an inkling about it because of the fact that I'd mentioned testosterone and that I'd had my name changed and that I was very secretive about my name change and all this stuff. And I had talked about like body issues and all that before. But I think that the best plan for me is to just ease people into it, because if I had told her flat out like, oh, I'm transgender, she wouldn't, like, she would have been shocked. And she said that, she's like, I would have been shocked, like very shocked if you had just said that, and wouldn't really understand what it meant. Whereas the fact that I had kind of laid the groundwork for it beforehand allowed it to kind of sink in, and then when I told her, it wasn't a big deal. Um, because she already had some of the pieces to the puzzle, if that makes sense. And then afterward, um, after we went home, like we had split up, and I just sent her an email because that's the only form of communication I have with people is email because I'm cool like that. I just sent her an email explaining other things that I kind of forgot to mention and just assuring her that it doesn't mean that she's gay, it doesn't mean that she's bisexual, it doesn't mean that, like, I just wanted her to make sure that she knows that I've always been a boy and always will be, and it doesn't change her identity at all. And she sent back like, no, I wasn't thinking of that at all. And I just really wanted to make sure that it was clear that it's not a big deal and it doesn't change me as a person. And I just want to make sure that it didn't change her opinion of me. And I hope this all made sense. I was kind of flustered because I was flustered while I was thinking about it. But anyway, it worked out. So everything's good. And I just wanted to share that because I know that that's something that always stresses me out. And I hope that it helps somebody. I just think that the best avenue is to just lay the groundwork, give some hints, have some discussions. My biggest thing was finding out if she would be open-minded, and then finding out if I could trust her with it, not to tell anybody. And those were the two main things. And honestly, as soon as I figured those two things out, I told her, and then I asked her out. So um, those are my big things. I don't know if you guys have other criteria that you are looking for. To feel safe and secure, but those are my two things that I need in order to feel comfortable with somebody. Um, so, yeah, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, video topics, anything like that, let me know. Subscribe, and thank you for watching.